All right, I am going to give you a walkthrough of a game I've been playing for a few years now called Farmville 2 Country Escape. And the reason I decided to make this video now is that I'm about to, reach a milestone. You're gonna see it here. That is hard won and probably very rare, relatively. Probably relatively very few people have achieved this milestone. And I'm just gonna give you a breadcrumb first to see what sparked me to create it, but then I have to jump over to another feature. So that, because the time's about to expire on it, so I gotta show that to you before it expires. Anyway, so it's this feature of the game called the Animal Park. And you're probably not going to understand everything I'm about to say, but that's okay. You don't need to. I'm just signaling here that we're only able to have 40 animals, and I'm at 39. In order to get that 40th animal, I need $11 Animal Park dollars. And when I collect this next delivery, that will push me over into my 11th dollar. And that will end this quest for me. And I'm going to go into more details about all of that in a minute. But first I want to show you, I got to start somewhere to give you the layout of why the Animal Park is even important to have done and what this game really is and how I'm using it. So anyway, let's jump in. So here is my farm, my digital farm. And I've been playing this game. I started it a handful of years ago. I played it for probably a year, and then I forgot about it. I got busy and sucked into life and everything else. And this is the whole sort of layout here. Give you an overview tour first so that you can orient yourself. That's as big as the screen is. If I go sideways here, there's a bunch of stuff you're going to see. Anyway, I started playing this again last June, and I noticed they had added a feature called the Animal Park. And at first I avoided it because it didn't seem very fun or useful, but eventually I got into it, and now 9 months later, I'm just about to complete it. And you'll understand why that's such a big deal here in a little bit. So where do we start with a game that is this sort of like different little sections of it all over the place that have grown up over time? And where I'm going to start is right here, because I only have 6 minutes left until he leaves to finish this request and get the rewards. So let's start here. So this is Nick's Knickknacks, and he shows up every few hours and asks me for things and says he'll give me these rewards. He also has expansion parts, but I'll explain that later. I've already expanded everything that he's able to help me with. So the only reason I'm really doing this is for these card packs anymore. That card pack is a new feature of Farmville that just got installed on my version. And I'm not really sure how I feel about it, but I'm trying to give this first go a solid, bit of attention and discipline around it. So anyway, you can see what he's asking me for is one rag doll, but I don't have any in stock, and one lemon scented candle, which I do have one. If he's asking me for anything too ridiculous, I just say skip and he disappears. There's a cool off period of a few minutes, a few hours. But I was kind of ready for this morning. I went over here and I made a rag doll. And now I'm going to come over here before he goes away, and I'm just going to drag those onto him, and he's going to say, "Thanks. Here is your reward." So then he disappears, the card pack shows up. I get to see my cards. They're all duplicates, but the duplicates can be useful too, so I'm just going to collect them. And now I can slow down a little bit and reset a little bit and really take you on a tour of what this game is. So when I first started this, like I said, a handful of years ago, it started with a little farmhouse, a tiny little swatch of land, and it walked me through adding my first crop, which was a wheat crop, and eventually a cow, and eventually a windmill that makes flour and sugar and animal food and things. And the whole purpose was you make the items, you harvest the raw materials, you create items, and then you sell it at the order board. This is Marie's order board. And she shows you 6 items that she's currently buying. And so it's my job to decide whether or not I have them, whether or not I want to sell them, whether or not I want to just skip it. And if I do decide to fill an order, I get different benefits, like I get some coin, I get some experience points, and I get some timber. I can also ask a co-op member to fill it for me, but I don't do that super often. Only in special circumstances. So when you first start, it asks you for super simple things like 1 bag of flour or something, or 3 apples, and it's super easy to fill, but over time the orders get more complicated, the recipes get more complicated, the ingredients take longer to source, and make, and the quantities get larger and larger. Like, look at this one. It wants 18 cedar plank trout, and I only have 5. Now, I'll go into why that's an absurd order later on, and all I'm going to get for it is 40 timber. Yeah, I'll get 500,000 coin, but if you'll notice here in the upper left-hand corner, I'm at 39 million. The coin maxes out at 40 million. So I'm almost always hitting top here with my coin, and so I don't really care about the coins anymore. There was a time when I was a poor farmer with very little coin, scraping for every penny I could get. But I have, like I said, I've been playing this for a number of years off and on, and very focused over the last 9 months. And I kind of passed that threshold sometime about 6 months ago. I stopped having to worry about money, which was really nice. So anyway, just to give you an example, this one I would not fill, so I'm just going to X that one out, and then there's a little cool off period of half an hour before I can ask for another order. So where's the fun in this, right? So the idea here is it's this cute little farm that eventually becomes a great big, systematized farm. And I don't know, for someone with a mind like me, I really have a thing for a natural aptitude for systems and process and optimizing workflows and understanding where the bottlenecks might be and trying to arrange the farm in just such a way to eliminate as many of those bottlenecks as possible. And so it was kind of scratching that itch for me. I really, plus it's just super cute. These animals here are just really super cute. And they jump around when they're ready to be harvested. I love the little goats, little chickens, look at the little chick, and the cows are all super cute. I've got my little pigs over here that give me clay. I have other animals. These are called my prized animals over here. I can talk about what that means in a little bit. And I've got all my crops, my peach trees and apple trees, and I've got wheat and corn and carrots and tomatoes. Those are the ones that I use most, which is why they're right in the middle. I like to leave a little bit of space in between them, because otherwise I was always grabbing the thing that I didn't quite want. So having it set up like this really works well for me. And then I put other crops over on this side that all kind of seem to go together. So these are workstations that create wine and cider and champagne. And so I put those over here, and I put the grapes that I need for it all around there. I've got pear trees and lemon trees. All of my these are my berries, and these are all kind of related, so that's why I have these together. Crabs and shrimp and peppers. And then I've got my mine over here. This is, let's see which one. I think this pond opens first, and then the mine opens second, and then the mill opens third, I believe. Well, technically the glade opens first, I guess. Anyway, each of these points of interest afford you different resources. So the mill, for instance, is a place where I can get brass and cedar wood and duck feathers. And you can see there's these little ghosted shapes here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I can put up to 8 farm hands here. Farm hands can be digital people or digital animals that are farmhand animals. And the more people I put, or the specific type of people I put or animals, influences whether I get the resources guaranteed or just have a chance of getting them. For a while, this brass was super hard to get. It still is. Feathers are really hard to get because normally this takes 4 hours. You put your person or people here, and it takes 4 hours till you can harvest that work. And to get the chance of one feather over every 4 hours made things like, so if I wanted to make a pillow, for instance, one pillow takes 3 duck feathers and 1 brass and 2 wool. So if I can't get enough duck feathers or enough brass to make an order, and like I was showing you on the order board, sometimes my orders now are not 3 apples. They're never 3 apples. It's 15 or 18 of these pillows. And so you can see, to create 10 pillows, I would need 30 feathers and 10 brass and 20 wool, and that would be a small order for me right now. So I would need to kind of do that plus another 5 or 10. So you can start to see maybe how it would be really hard to fulfill an order board order for pillows if you're only getting the chance of 1 feather every 4 hours. It's absurd. What else? The glade gives me things like, oh, I don't have enough barn space to show you. The glade gives you things like blackberries and chives. The pond specializes, depending on what people you put there, and I'll talk about that, different fish primarily. The mine you get is where you get minerals like quartz and tin and copper, depending again what animals you're putting in there. And I think that's about it for points of interest where you can stage farmhands. Anyway, so when you first start, you get like one crop and one animal and one windmill, and you just start from there, and eventually this is what it grows into over a very long time, with a lot of just showing up and grinding through the work that needs done, and eventually achieving little milestones that you set for yourself. It's super cute. It's super easy at a gameplay level, but then they build in things to make it, I'll just say, more stressful. Which, why would you play a game if it's causing you stress? Well, you know, some of us are a little bit masochistic, I guess. And that's kind of fun sometimes, in a way. It's satisfying when you can kind of be working on an event. So right now there's an event going on. And the idea is you have to go collect special event items and then create those items from those special raw materials. And if you complete the tasks, then you win different rewards. So you just kind of got to ask yourself, am I willing to take on the stress of completing these different phases of this event in order to earn the rewards that it's going to afford me? And sometimes for me, the answer is, no, I need a break. I'm not doing this event. There are basically 3 different types of event. This is probably the easiest one to complete because you're just crafting items and they don't take up, the raw materials take up space in your barn, but the finished goods never hit your barn, so you don't struggle as much for barn space during this type of event. You're also not racing anyone, so it's just complete the phase, win the reward. Now, some of the items that they're wanting you to make are multi-layered. So for instance, these 2, first you have to start by making some steamed veggies, and then you take those steamed veggies and you make these other items. One is a shepherd's pie and one is an Irish soup. And so that becomes a multi-tier product that you end up having to make. And these aren't too bad, but the next phase to win the 28 days of this farmhand is oftentimes just crazy making. Like, it's insane what they ask you to do, because first you got to take a whole bunch of raw materials like honey and make a whole bunch of candles so that you have these beeswax candles, and then you need 2 of those beeswax candles plus an event item in order to make the boxwood, and then you need 2 of those boxwoods to make one of the final items. And so it gets really many layers deep in the process, and it can take quite a long time, and it becomes boring and annoying and stressful. But at the end of it, you win a little doggy farmhand who's going to stay on your farm for 28 days and take up one of those, fill in one of those ghost spots so that you have a better chance of getting the rewards from working the mill, so to speak. So the farmhands, it's really all about the farmhands. You really want the farmhands in order to get the raw materials so that you can craft the items, so that you can sell the items, so that you can earn coin and timber, so that you can upgrade your workstations and upgrade your crops so that they're faster and they give you extra benefits. And all of that is just to make it easier and more fun to play. But by the time you've spent all of these months and years building up your farm to the point where now the events are easier, the game is a little bit more fun to play, you kind of start to lose interest in it a little bit. So you spend all of this stress and energy trying to make the game easier to play, and when it gets easier, you kind of lose interest in it, which is a really, I think, a lot of how many of us go through our life. So it really does mimic that in some ways. All right, so let me reset myself here. That was a lot. I'm not really going to tell you everything about everything. I'm just kind of going to play a little bit and tell you about things as I'm playing. And at the end, we're going to talk about the animal park. Because you kind of need a foundation first to really understand why this animal park milestone is so relatively unprecedented. So let's get started. So one of the first things I do, I have this little station here that I make shovels. You need to make shovels if you want to expand your barn. So it starts as a very small barn, and it used to be that the max size barn was 950, plus you could get some added bonus spaces if you were if you won high enough in like the boat race, or if you bought a pin that gives you extra space, or you bought the monthly subscription. I'll talk about that later. The monthly subscription gives you 50 free spaces. So but very recently they just lifted the cap on that 950 limit. And so I've been expanding my barn again. And you need, at this stage, what you need is 31 shovels, and those take like 8 hours to make one. So it takes a very long time, and you have to keep showing up to reset that workstation. You need tin that you've harvested from the mill, and then you need nails and padlocks. So the nails and padlocks you get sometimes when you call in one of your points of interest, like I'll show you once I clear some space. I'll show you when I clear this pond point of interest, maybe I'll get a lock or a nail. And when you collect enough of them, you get to increase your barn by 10 spots. Ooh. The happy feature of upgrading, though, is all of these upgrade materials, expansion materials that you've been collecting, leave the barn also. So you don't just get the 10 spots, you get the 100 spots. No, I don't. You get the 100 spots that were being taken up by the materials you needed to expand it. So it does end up being a nice little bit of relief that lets you breathe for a minute before you fill it back up again. And as with many things in life, the quantities of stuff that you feel like you need to hold on to expands every time your barn expands. You know, the products expand to fit the space you have, I guess. So I'm always maxed out on my barn. It's very rare if I'm super low. I'm not super low for very long. So just to give you another sense, the barn is where we mostly keep finished goods or, different materials. So butter, for instance, is in here, but my cow milk that I use to make the butter, that's in my silo. So the silo is the same sort of thing, only it holds all my crops. So milk, corn, all of these things. It starts small too, and it maxes out at 820 base, and then I have an extra 20 spots because of the league because of the tier that we're in as a co-op in the boat race. So 840 is the biggest I can expand this, and so I have to kind of decide what's important, how much of which things are important to have. Some things I don't keep on hand at all, like apples, because they're super quick to get, so I don't really need to keep them here. But other things take a long time to get, like 130 milk that takes a long time. And you need 30 milk to make 10 sticks of butter, and you need like 30 sticks of butter to make 10 scones. So you can see how that can really mean like, oh my gosh, I need 10 scones. That means I need 90 milk. So I better have saved up at least 90 milk. Oops. At least 90 milk so that I can make the scones that I need for whatever reason. So that's sort of the supply chain of it all. Again, I'm pretty much always maxed out, and I have a good sense of which items I need in order to keep the supply chain rolling. That's just been through trial and error and experimentation. There's things like crabs. So there's this one item that I have to make, and it takes, in order to make 5 of them, it uses 20 crabs. If I look over here at my crab workstations or pots, my crab pots, each one only gives me 3, and 3 times 6 is 18. And if I pull one, it takes like 3 minutes. Let me just do that. I'll pull one, and then I just got my crabs, and if I try to pull it again, it's going to tell me I have to wait 2.5 minutes to get that one again. If I have speed seed, I can go ahead and have it automatically reset. But when I'm making that item, I like to already have at least 2 crabs in my inventory so I can just pull the 18 and get busy making. It's little workflow hacks like that, optimization system, inventory management optimization that you learn over time. The same is true for these white grapes. I always try to keep opening the barn instead of the silo. I always try to have at least 6 white grapes. Yeah, I got 8 white grapes there, because there's this item called Cove Punch that the mariner asks for. See, he's asking me for 14 Cove Punch, and I happen to have 9. But if I didn't and I needed to make, I always try to have some on stock, because sometimes he asks for 14, sometimes he asks for 20. You never quite know. In order to make 10 of those Cove Punch, I need a full set of white grapes plus 1 extra set. Each set is like 6 grapes. So I always try to keep that 1 extra set in my silo and keep the rest there, and then I can just harvest all of those, and I can make 10 Cove punch at the dairy. See if I can show you that, or no. Let me clear some space in my barn here if I can, so we can actually play. What do we get here? What do I got here? Oh, I know what I could do. So there's an event going on, and let me just tap that open. For the event, the things that I'm making now are some creamy Irish soup, and you can see I have 12. I've made 12 already, and I need 18 to complete that task, so I need to make 6 more. Those are at the stove top. So in order to make creamy Irish soup, I need to first have steamed vegetables. 1 steamed vegetable for 1 soup, plus 2 cilantro, plus 3 butter. And I need 6 of these things. So let's see, if I just click 5. So it's taking all of my cilantro, it's taking 15 of my butter, and it's taking 5 of my steamed vegetables. The steamed vegetables are not a regular item. I had to make those myself over here. Steamed vegetables, I had to take 30 carrots, 30 tomatoes, and 30 corn for every 10 steamed vegetables, and that takes half an hour, 27 minutes, 27 minutes to make. And once I have those, now I can make this recipe. So again, there's those dependencies that are baked in there that you come to learn over time. So when I set this stovetop workshop, I'm going to take out of my inventory 5 steamed vegetables, 10 cilantro, and 15 butter. And now that's going to sit there and bake for half an hour. Now I've got a lot more room left. I've got about 30 spots left now in my barn. Now I'm able to pull my pond people. So I got a nail, 2 bass, 2 mint, a salmon, 2 trout, 240 experience points, a card pack, and some special grapes that are for the event. And now the card pack is going to open, and I open that, and they're always duplicates, so I just collect them. Now I have to reset that workstation, so I click on it. Now, because I subscribed to this feature, there are 2 different levels. I can get a $10 subscription, not really subscription, but it's like pay it once, and I get to decide every month if I want to pay it or not. And I would get these benefits, and if I spend $20, I would get these benefits. And one of the benefits that makes it all super extra worthwhile is no supplies needed at all points of interest. So what that means is, usually when I go to the pond, if I don't have this perk active, I would need, I think, 2 farmer's soup and is it biscuits? Maybe it's biscuits, or maybe it's a pan fry. I'm not sure. But because I have this perk, I don't have to store soup and whistles and blankets and all of these other entry tickets into these different points of interest. So you can see there's 4 shadows here, and so I can put up to 4 animals here, and what you'll see along the side here is right now I have 0% chance of getting anything, and the bass is showing maybe a chance of 1. The mint is showing maybe a chance of 1. Now, if you noticed, I'd gotten 2 bass and 2 mint. Why? because some of my farm hands have special talents, basically. So this is one of my farm hands, and she specializes in guaranteed one salmon. Let me just make sure that's right. Let me do my Halloween cat. See, the Halloween cat gives me a good chance of 2 bass. But if I just did her, I have a very low chance of 1 bass. So you want to try to learn which animals give you different things. Now my doggy, my hound dog, he changes my trout from 1 trout to a guaranteed 2 trout. And trout is a limiting resource. So you want to be able to have that trout if you can. So I put him there. My kitty cat, I don't know, I just have her there. And then my other kitty cat. Oh, so you see that kitty cat. See one of these. Oh, okay. So right now I have a 15% chance of maybe 1 mint. But when I put this kitty cat, now I have a better chance of getting 2 mint. And then this kitty cat pushes that up even more. And now I'm getting a solid 2 bass, a solid 1 salmon, solid 2 trout, a good chance of the event item, but it's not guaranteed. So that kind of gives you a sense of, that's how kind of all the points of interest work. Usually this is an 8-hour cooldown where I set it and I can't touch it again for 8 hours unless I want to use some keys to speed it up. I happen to have a pin active that gives me a 3-hour faster pond, so now it's only going to take 5 hours instead of 8. So I'm going to say go fishing. And it's really cute because they have these cute little animations. Hard to see what that kitty's doing, but you see she just grabbed a fish, and that dog's trying to grab some bass, and she's fishing. So cute little animations. Sometimes she pulls a boot. Not that I ever have to deal with the boot, but it's just a cute little animation anyway. And you see, oh, there's the boot. And then you see there's a cute little frog hiding out there. Anyway, I also want to reset my shovel. If you were to play this game, you are going to make shovels a couple times a day, every day, for every day that you play this game, if you want to expand your barn and silo. So easy to do, but it takes a long time to bake. The shovel usually, again, takes 8 hours, but I have a special thing active that's reducing it some. I'll talk about those pins later. We talked about Nick's knickknacks. We've got the mine. So the mine, this is showing you what I might get. I have a dog that guarantees me 2 copper. I have a kitty cat that increases from 2 quartz to 3 quartz. Quartz is the other extremely limiting resource in this game. It is hard to have enough quartz unless you really plan your workstations well, and I'll give you a sense of what that looks like. And then I also get a guaranteed 2 tin because of the animals that I have staged in there. If I had different farm hands in there than those 3 animals, I wouldn't have those 3 things guaranteed. What's next? Sophia's tasting table. I only do this when I have to. I don't really care much about that one. It just takes all my wine, and I don't like to make wine and champagne if I don't have to because it's super resource intensive. It takes a lot of quartz. So I'll give you a sense here. If I want to make 10 Pinot Noir, which many recipes take, 1 bottle of Pinot, and if you got to make 15 of them, you got to have 15 Pinots ready to go, and you can see it takes 18 hours to make 10. So how am I going to make 10 Cajun crabs, or maybe 15 Cajun crabs, if I don't have any Pinot already ready to go? I'm gonna say not doing that one because I don't have that already made. In order to make that, I need 10 bottles, which is essentially 10 quarts. You take the little quarts and you turn them into bottles at the bottle making station, and then you take the bottles and you have to pluck all of these red grapes, and then you have to pluck them all again in order to get 60 red grapes. And then you gotta wait 18 hours. So what I ended up doing was I pulled all of my wine workshops over in this one area, and I have them preset and pre-made, 2 for my white wine, 2 for my Pinot, and 1 for champagne. And then I keep 1 open in case it's asking me for like rosé, because this doesn't take as long to make. It's not as time intensive, or sparkling cider, which also doesn't take as long to make. So I keep that 1 station open in case I have to make one of these other things. We have 1 co-op member, love him so much, and he's got some broken English and he calls this spanking cider. I'm like, yeah, that is some spanking cider. Anyway, what else we got going on here? Currently, like I said, I've got this event going on, and in order to get the event items, I have to do a couple of different things. One is it gives me this special event place here where I have to send farmhands in order to get this cilantro. Normally I don't get to get cilantro. So I pull it, and then I can have up to 4 people here, but I find with these specific 3 people, I'm guaranteed to get 2 cilantro every time, and so that's enough for me. I don't need to fill the spot just to fill the spot. All I'm doing this for is the cilantro, but you can see if I only put, let's see which one of these, let me see, maybe she's giving me, see, she gives me half a chance, and then this one gives me the other half, so I guess technically I don't even need her there. I'm going to take her out. All right, so let's just do that, and again, because I have this perk active, I can forage faster at this event point of interest. It's 50% faster. So instead of having to wait an hour, I only have to wait half an hour for that to mature. I'm going to go down here to the pier. This was the other one. So the pier is, so this is usually why I have her. This usually takes 4 hours. I have a pin that reduces it by an hour, so she's only going to take 3 hours, and she gives me a guaranteed 2 salmon here, so that's why I keep her here. But you can see I have a very low chance of anything else, nails or padlocks. Oh, I also get 2 clams. Very low chance of, lobsters and pearls and a trout. So the more that you fill in these ghost spots, the better chance you're going to have of getting those items. But I really don't care about any of these other items. I mean, if I had all the people that I could ever have, I would fill up all the spots, but I don't, so I make do with what I have, and all I really care about is getting that salmon and the clams. So I'm just going to set her to work there, and she does her little fishing here, which is cute. The other event item, so the cilantro is the one item, the other one is these grapes. So I get the grapes from mostly these prized animals, but I also get it from the glade sometimes. Let's pull the glade. There we go. I get 2 blackberries, 2 chives, 10 experience points, and one of my event items. you don't always get all those things. But because I'm using my tabby cat and my collie, I get guaranteed 2 chives and guaranteed 2 blackberries every 15 minutes. So I keep them there for the most part. And then most of the time I keep all of my other animals in the mill because I really need, like I said, brass and feathers and cedar for a lot of things. And so the more people I have here, the better chance I have of getting that. But since the event is going on, I don't really need those items very much right now. So instead I moved all of those animals out to these all of those farm hands, out into these prized animal stations. Now, what that allows for is I have a much bigger chance of getting those grapes that I need in order to make the blackberry milk stout, which I've already finished, or the grape smoothie. So I still need 19 of these grape smoothies. So let's go take a look and see. Let me pull my Swiss because I need that. I'm going to click on my dairy, and you can see the first item is the event item, and it wants 2 of these special grapes plus 2 peach yogurts. So I already have saved up 31 peach yogurts for this task. Otherwise, I would have to first make peach yogurt with some peaches and some goat milk. And then once I had the peach yogurt, 2 of them, I would be able to make 1 of these. So you can see it can really add up if you're not efficient with your supply chain. So I have enough of these event grapes right now that I could make 3, and it would take 17 minutes. Part of the reason it's taking 17 minutes, though, I should mention, is because my workstation is updated to a gold workstation. Every time you upgrade your workstations, they get faster. And so this is a gold workstation. It's the fastest it can be, and so that's why mine is taking probably less time than a lot of people's might take if they haven't fully upgraded. I'm going to wait to set that, though, because I bet when I pull these animals, I'm going to get more grapes, and maybe I can make 5 instead of 3. So let's give it a shot and see. Oh, not enough space in my barn again. Always the problem, always the problem. So what I try to do is either sell them into either the co-op or onto the global market. See, I've got a lot of brass right now. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? Let me see. Sorry if I move fast, it's just, you'll get used to it if you watch long enough. So I currently only have 2 pillows. I think I'm going to make some pillows. Usually I like to have more like, 8 or 10. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to make 5 pillows. It's going to take most of my duck feathers. I got plenty of brass, so I'm going to go ahead and do that just to clear out some more space in my barn. So there we go. Now I've got 30 spots again. So now I've got the points, the grapes, some clay, pan fries, and the ribbons. So the ribbons are the biggest reason why you want these prized animals. With the ribbons, what you get is the opportunity at the prize tent to buy some different things. So I could buy 3 barn nails with 8 ribbons, 8 yellow ribbons, or I could buy 1 padlock with 4 yellow ribbons and 5 red ribbons, or I could buy some keys, but that's 20 of those, 15 of those, and 13 of those. It's quite expensive. The thing to keep in mind is that these max out at 100. So even if the animal gives me more red ribbons, I lose that benefit. So I always try to manage that a little bit to try to make sure that, you know, I'm getting the benefit that I want to get. For this case, yeah, I think I'm going to buy some keys. So now that just added to my key total up here. The keys are things you can use to speed things up, to pull things right away, or to expand things. So like for instance with my barn, if I wanted to, I could just, even though I don't have all the resources I need, I could just spend 597 keys and automatically it would take whatever I do have, the 16 shovels, the 20 tin, the 3 nails, and then give me the upgrade. You know, fill in the rest with the keys. So that's where I spent a lot of keys. I ended up buying, like with real world money, lots and lots of keys along the last 9 months so that I could buy timber and so that I could also expand my barn and silo. And I'm not sorry. It's the most money I've ever spent on a game before, but it got me to the point where, okay, it is what it is now, and now I can work within it instead of always just like, I don't know, it relieved some stress for me. You know, it's kind of that concept of an essential constraint. Once you know what the constraint is, you can figure out a way to work within it. But if you're not sure where that constraint could expand into and what that might be like, it just creates all this extra stress. So I bought my way out of that stress so that the stress that I do experience from some of these events and side quests isn't as serious or as consistent. Let's see, what else? So usually when you have your animal, you have to then have food in order to reset it. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to take the pig feed and I'm going to put my animals back here, my farm hands back here. Sorry, Zoe, Zoomaster Zoe. This usually takes an hour, but it's only going to take 45 minutes. And I'm going to hit go, and you can see I have a good chance of a yellow ribbon. I have a mild chance of a red ribbon, and I have a low chance of a blue ribbon. So it takes a long time to collect 100 ribbons in the first place of any one color. And so there's that. And then what I need to make sure to do is reset this so that next time, so I have the strawberries and the potatoes, but I still need carrots. So I'm going to go grab 9 carrots. And now I've got 13 carrots and I can set that. And that will take 13 minutes to make, but this takes 45 minutes, so it will be ready long before I need it. Let's see, yep, they gave me some grapes, same sort of deal. This is my reindeer. So because I'm in the boat race and we're at a certain tier in the boat race, I have this special benefit where once every, I think, 4 or 6 hours, I don't need to use feed. I can use her instead. So that's always nice. I'm going to set him. And then my chickens. Yes, I got more grapes. Excellent. Don't want to jinx myself there. But now, see, I can't use her again for 4 hours, so I need the chicken feed, or I need to put it at a different animal. So I happen to have chicken feed over here. So I'm going to go ahead and use that. And then I'm going to go ahead and make some more chicken feed. So next time I have everything. I'm running low on strawberries, though. You kind of got to keep an eye on what you're using. Again, so you can harvest them and have it in your silo so that when you need it, it's there. And then my last item is the cow. And let's see, I do already have 3 cow feed in my inventory, so I'm going to go ahead and place them, and then I'll talk a little bit more about these farm hands. So with the farm hands, you start with like 1 or something, and then you have to grow them from there. You earn some, and then others you have to buy. So if I come down here to the lower left-hand side, there's this little cash register icon. And if I click that, you can start to see there's different tabs here along this pop-up. And so along the way, I was able to, buy wheat and apples and corn and carrots. And each field you can have up to 6 of everything. You have to buy them and buy them and buy them. And it takes a long time. And then eventually they added the crabs and the peppers and the shrimp, and then after they added the water crops. And it takes a long time. Like some of these don't even unlock at first, so it starts you with just these, and then eventually once you reach a certain level, it will unlock more. Oh, now you can get this or that or whatever, when you have coin for it. So it doesn't give you all of these at once. It kind of steps you through it. The next tab is the animals. So again, you got to buy all your animals. You can only have like 1 of each of these. So like for instance, I have 3 of these sheep, 1 of each kind. I have 3 of these pigs, 1 of each kind. There is one woman in my co-op who has 2 of these Awasi sheep. And I'm so jealous because wool is a very limited resource when you need it. Like you don't always need it, but when you do need it, you need a lot of it. And if I had 1 more sheep, I would be so happy. I tried to get support to give me another one, but they wouldn't. She said she got it there was some event years ago that it was the reward for that event. And yeah, so anyway, because when you pull, let me show you, go over here. So you see my little happy sheep? When they're all happy like that, it means, hey, I'm ready to be harvested. And so you click on them, and you see that gave me 6 wool. Normally it only gives you 3 wool. It was cute. You see the little shiver? Hold on, let me do it again. The little shiver there. I'll do him too. Anyway, so now they're just going to like kind of look around and stare at the ground and just cry out, hey, feed me, feed me. And you're like, aw, sad sheep. So then now the sheep take tomatoes, 4 tomatoes. So I keep them near my tomatoes. In case I run out, I can just go like that. And now I have some tomatoes to give to my sheep. Again, once I do that, normally I get 3, 6, 9 wool every harvest, and the harvest takes half an hour. So when you need 90 wool to make, or 100 wool to make 20 scarves, like you just got to have a lot of wool on hand. My silo is kind of blocking me out here, so I've got too much clay. I'm going to go ahead and sell some clay over here in the market, just to show you what that looks like. I'm going to sell 10. Usually I keep about 30-ish, so that's fine. Sometimes, let me see what other crops I have that I might have too many of. 32. These quantities are all looking pretty good, actually. I got a lot of wool. I don't usually have that much wool. That's part of the problem. So I can either make something with the wool, and that will take it out and create some space. Or what I like to do is go into here. All these are in alphabetical order. So gotta scroll all the way to the bottom to get to my wool. And I'll post 10 and I'll click this little co-op exclusive box. And now only people in my co-op can buy that wool. Versus the clay I just put on the global market. You can see that's for sale and that's a co-op. So I'll show you what that looks like. If I come over into my co-op, the upper right hand side, you can kind of see, you know, there's a little chat window here. It's kind of a limited chat window. People can request for things if they want some things, or they can ask for help with an order. This is the global market. This is where I can buy from people who posted on the global market. And then I have the co-op tab. This is where somebody in my co-op posted 20 milk for somebody in the co-op to buy. So you can only buy that if you're in the co-op. Thanks, Barney. So what else do we, I was gonna try to make the event item. See, I only ended up with 6. I need one more grape. Let's just take a look and see if this has ripened, and I did not get a grape that time, unfortunately. Sometimes you can find the event items in the global market. So the global market refreshes every 5 minutes. I can skip it for some keys, but I never do. So I'm just constant, like every 5 minutes, my nervous system when I'm playing this is just trained to just kind of go, oh, it's been about 5 minutes. Let me go see if there's any new products here. So actually, let me show you that again. You can see this person has some blueberry pancakes only for their co-op. And what that does is it says, wow, I wonder where their co-op is. And you can kind of try to figure that out. And then you can go join their co-op if you really want to. But I have the best co-op, so I'm never leaving unless they kick me out. Let's see. To find the co-ops, there's behind my silo. Now, I will say the way that I have my farm laid out is the way that I have my farm laid out. You don't have to, I could move the silo somewhere else if I wanted. Certain things are set, like the white farmhouse and the barn. Let me give you an idea. If I go to my co-op window, there's a little thing there. I can see who's in my co-op. I can see what levels they are and what types of things they've accomplished. This person has 18 animals. This person has 36 animals. So she's close to me. Look at her, Care My Q, 39 animals. That's me. I'm level 362. I am whatever that means in my county fair race. I'm doing the boat race. I've finished 25 co-op orders. I've shared hands 4 times, and I have 1,800 likes. So you get some of your stats there. But what you can do is you can go into here, and let's visit Geneva. So if I click on her picture, I can say visit farm. And sometimes it doesn't work, but sometimes it does. So you can see she has her silo on the other side of her co-op sign. And she doesn't have her wine stations over here. She has them down here. Now you can also kind of start to see, you don't want to squish your stations right up on top of each other because the products float a little bit above. And when you go to click this one, you're going to end up grabbing that product, and it's like, no, I don't have enough barn space, and now I have even less. So you do have to kind of put some breathing room around these workshops. You can see that she's kind of got all of her crops tied up against her each other, all in this space. I do not know how, if she wants, grapes or potatoes, how she doesn't just accidentally grab other things, and maybe she does, I don't know. Or maybe she's just super good. Some people you just kind of, you got to zoom in and then you can pluck it. Now I can't pluck anything because this isn't my farm. But what I can do, oops, did I just go home? I just went home. What I can do is fertilize something. Well, so I'm not going to do hers because she's a high level. Let's go visit Barney's farm. So Barney is level 43, which is pretty good, but you can see his looks a lot different. All of this land is still locked for him, right? Him, her, they. And so they've kind of got all their workstations kind of grouped here. They've got all their crops right here. They only have 2 wheat. They only have 2 carrots, like, man, that's, how do you even survive? And so what I do is you get 5 friend fertilizers every day. So it's fun to go and find somebody who's a lower level than you and try to help them by saying, I'm going to give your geese some fertilizer because now instead of getting 4 eggs, you're going to get 8. And that's a lot of eggs at this level. I'm going to give them some fertilizer. What's worth fertilizing here? Some pears, some peaches, some lemons, and I got one more. What do you think? Let's do lemons. I think peaches are more valuable. So you never really want to bother fertilizing wheat or apples because those grow so fast. Even the corn, carrots, the tomatoes, the tomatoes are where it starts to get a little bit time intensive, but you want to be thoughtful about what you are fertilizing. So you can see this is the next area that they are able to unlock. So you can't just unlock any area. You have to unlock the area that they're making available for you to unlock. So that's their next quest, and you can see they have not unlocked any of their water crop area yet. So once you unlock that area, you, instead of making shovels, you make pickaxes, and pickaxes take 10 hours to make instead of 8 hours for the shovels. And so you gotta clear out all of the garbage with the pickaxes, and then you can start buying the water crops and the water animals. And once you do that, you get this whole other quest here, which is Pike's Adventures, which I can show you. So he doesn't have that unlocked yet. Yeah, so that's what an earlier stage farm looks like. So let's go home. Yay! And I get some coins for fertilizing his farm. So let's look at my water crop area. So I've got mine all built out. I actually did mine in alphabetical order. So I've got black rice and cranberries and herring and krill and pen shells and sea urchins and wasabi and water spinach. So left to right, top to bottom, alphabetical order. Just because I kept which one is what thing? I never could remember. You get the sea house, which is where all of these sorts of crops get stored here, so they don't take up space in your regular silo or your regular barn. But again, it's a small, for what it asks you for, it's a small amount of items, space to collect items. Right now, this is one of the Pike's Adventures, so if I arrow out, originally when you start Pike's Adventures, you get to unlock one region at a time, and once you unlock the region, you have to explore all the islands in that region, and then it unlocks the next region. And there are 2, 4, 6, 8 regions. I have cleared them all. Now this is the last one. I get to just keep redoing this one. So when I do that, so this is what the region looks like. So I had to go through all of these different islands within the region and clear the order boards for them. And once you complete the order boards, so you can see it wanted 10, so those aren't the quantities, those are the doubloons that you get. It wanted candied cranberries, it wanted krill, it wanted pen shells, just you got to go and make and collect all of the ingredients and then sell them. I've got 10.5 hours left to finish this last one. And when I finish this one only takes, it's going to give me 480 doubloons when I finish all of them in 10 hours, as well as a card pack. If I don't finish it in 10 hours, I won't get the bonus rewards. So I always finish within the time allotted. And once I finish, I'm gonna have that many, and then it's gonna fill it the rest of the way up with the other 480. So I will complete it, and it will give me some speed seed here. So I always try to time the completion of it for a moment when I feel like I could use a little bit of speed seed, otherwise it's a wasted benefit. And what speed seed does is it just makes all the crops infinitely, like I can just keep, and then feed, and it just speeds up that process for a couple of hours, up to like 8 hours. Like sometimes it's a 2 hour, a 4 hour, or an 8 hour up, speed seed thing. The thing about the water crops that's a pain in the ass is that these water crops themselves take minerals. So let's see, one of my tasks today is I have to harvest cranberry fields 10 times. I've already done it 6 times, so let's go finish that. I'm gonna go 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So you just click them, and now that's done, and you see I just completed my task, so I'm gonna go allow that to register, and now I come over to my rewards and it pops open my next reward. You can see it gives me a reward if I want to collect it whenever I want to collect it, of 2 hours of speed seed and 4 blue ribbons. I'm not going to collect either of them. You don't have to ever collect them. If you don't collect them before the 16 days, it's like a 30-day window for this feature that, again, you end up buying. It's either a $9 for these benefits, these perks, or it's a $20 for the month. So I always get the $20 one because, yeah, it saves me so much more stress than it's worth for $20. If I don't, whatever I don't end up using, it will give me a speed seed and a helping hand reward for everything that I don't collect. So that's nice. But anyway, you can see that these are now ready to be planted. In order to plant them, I have to have minerals. I happen to have a lot of minerals stored. I don't really know how many. It doesn't tell you. It only tells you really when you run out. So I'm going to go ahead and put some minerals. Where you get more from mostly is this little mineral plot, and that only holds 4 minerals. And it takes an hour for that to refresh and get 4 more minerals. There are a couple of other ways that you get some minerals. Like I said, you can get them as rewards. So 8, so I had plucked that, so I've got at least 8 minerals floating somewhere. I can't see how many, but I just come and I click that, and I know, okay, I already have more than I at least have more than 4, otherwise it would have refilled me. It's not a great mechanism, and I would love for them to do something different with that, but I'm all done with Pike's Adventures at this point, so it really doesn't weigh me down too much anymore. What else? This guy, So this is the Mariner. The Mariner, originally, this is how you started to get different pins, and I'll tell you about the pins in a minute. The pins have special powers, and you activate the pins with sand dollars that you earn by finishing these order boards. And you only have a certain number of days before you have to have it finished. Otherwise, he just disappears. If I don't like the order board, I'll just say skip if it looks too hard. Sometimes it will ask me for like, I don't know, 12 cedar plank trout. And I'm like, hard no. Because, show you the cedar plank trouts. To make a cedar plank trout, to make one, you need one cedar board, which I already told you about. You get that from the mill, and you don't always get one. You need one lemon zest, which the lemons take a long time to grow, like 4 or 5 hours, once you have them optimized. And it takes, I don't know, 6, I think, lemons to make one lemon zest or something, and then you need 2 trout, again, a limited resource. So to make 12 of those is like I would need 24 trout. It's like, no. And then now you've taken all my trout and all my lemon zest and all my cedar boards, and I'm like, no, you don't get to do that to me. So I just skip him. See what else, other interesting things. Oh, lobster mac. Yeah, that's a whole thing. I'll tell you about that maybe after. I don't know if it's really interesting or not, but let's see. So this is how I've laid out my farm anyway. And so I have a row of my most used workshops here, and then my other well-used workshops over there, and then my more crafty workstations here, and then I have my rollover workstations here. So basically what I'm doing is I'm using these as kind of extra barn space, if you will. Instead of keeping, because I never know when the animal park was going to ask me for lobster mac. And lobster mac takes a lot of resources and a lot of time. And it doesn't always ask for lobster mac. So it really seems to ask you for things that you don't have in your barn, because otherwise it wouldn't be stressful. So anyway, I always have like 10 mac and cheese here, so that if I ever do need to pull the 10 lobster mac, I can just put the mac and cheese over there, add my lobsters and get that baking, and then I just have to make 10 more mac and cheese for there. And the mac and cheese, to make 10 of those, it takes 30 goat cheese, which is a lot of goat's milk. First you got to get all the goat's milk, make all the goat cheese. Then you got to need 60 eggs, which is about half of what I usually have on hand, and then 60 flour, which when your barn is full, to try to collect 60 flours and 30 goat cheese is impossible. So yeah, you try to not have to do that unless you absolutely have to. And then once you have that, then you make your lobster mac, and that, because again, mine workstations here are upgraded to gold, so this takes 5.5 hours, which is absurd, but most people takes twice that long, 10 hours to make that. When you first buy your workstation, you only have like, I think, one spot, like you can only make one at a time, and then with, I don't know, coins or whatever, or keys, you can make 2 at a time, or 3 at a time, or 5 at a time, or 10 at a time. That's the most you can make. So again, what I like to do is I might have 1 or 2 lobster macs in my barn. So I have 7. Because anytime I see them on Global, I'm like, buy. So if I have 7 there, then the animal park probably won't just randomly ask me for it, first of all. But if I ever did run out of them, like sometimes during events, it asks for items. The leaderboard events, you have to give it items in order to get points to go up the leaderboard. It will ask for lobster mac a lot of times because most people don't have that and it's trying to slow you down. So a lot of times I do burn through these things. Or people in the co-op will ask, hey, anyone have lobster mac? And I'll post some up for them. But I don't always want to have 10 of them or 15 because, again, it's not going to, if I have them, it's not going to ask me for it. But when I need it, I want to be able to just pull it. So instead of blocking my barn with those items, I paid whatever I needed to pay to have 10 spots unlock in that workstation so that I could plant 10 lobster macs there and just leave it there until I needed it. So that way, that's how these stations, I barely ever touch any of these stations. You can see I did use this one recently. This is my mint chocolate chip cookie station. And I needed the cookies the other day, and I had them, fortunately, for the animal park. And now I've got to make more, but I don't have 70 spots available to pick up that much flour. So I just got to wait until after this current event when I have my sanity back, and then I'll figure out how to get that reset. Anyway, so it's nice to have these, but that's basically just extra barn storage in my mind. Same with these. So yeah, how you upgrade these is come over here. I don't even think I finished this. So yeah, we talked about the animals, and then you've got your workstation. So again, you can have 6 windmills, 6 pastry ovens, blah, 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 all of these different things. And each one costs money, and each one costs whatever. And man, it takes a long time to get all of them. And you think, once I have all of them, I'll be all set. But you know what? Once you have all of them can only make one thing. So then you got to increase the number of spots that it can make. And then you need to upgrade them. So the ones I used most are the ones that I upgraded most. So I use these most. And so these are all gold. But you can see I do have a silver one here. You can see on the banner that it's got 2 hash marks, so it's an upgraded silver. You can see over here, this one doesn't have a banner. So if I click on that, it's a level 1 right now. In order to upgrade it to level 2, it will give me 15% crafting time. It costs 100,000 coin and 202 timber. And then I would have to go to that, and then the level 3 is a little bit faster, level 4 is a little bit faster, level 5 is a little bit faster, and then level 6 is when it gets gold and it's 50% faster, but you have to go through all the levels. So the thing about, let me find one that's, so this one is level 5, whoops. And so to upgrade it to level 6, it's not 200 timber, it's 3,240 timber and 1,600,000 coin. And that's expensive. Like, if your average order board order only gives you 32 timber, you have to fill 100 orders, really 101 orders. 101 orders of the order board. In order to upgrade that to that final level. And it's just not worth it to me because I don't use that very often. I did make it as fast as I could go. So it slowly progresses each level. If this is a 200 increase, and that's like 400, and that's 800, and that's 1600, and this one is 3, it like doubles every time. So yeah, I don't need to. I'd rather use that 3,000 timber somewhere else. I didn't mind paying the 1,600 timber, but I don't want to pay 3,200 timber yet. What else? We've got show animals. I hate the show animals. I'm almost done. I can't get this one pig. Actually, you know what? He's probably ready. I do have one of those going, and I think he's done. He's down here. Yes. So I have my little show pig down here, and he's got a question mark over him. I've been feeding him for 4 days. And let me just show you that again. I'm trying to get this costume so that I can fill in that square on the matrix. I've done so many of these pigs at this point, these tiger pigs. I don't know why I can't get that one. I'm really hoping I finally get this one, so maybe you'll get to witness that. And then I just have one more pig to do, but he costs 40 keys to buy in order to feed, to try to get a costume that you may not get, and I'm just not spending 40 keys on that. So if they want to give it to me free, or somebody wants to invite me to the one that they're doing, I'll try, but otherwise, no. And the reason why, now, let me go ahead. Let's go ahead and open him up. So we're going to pop him open. You can invite somebody to help you feed the pig, is what I was kind of starting to say. But I did this one on my own, so I'm going to weigh him. And that's a helping hand. That boosts the workstations 10 minutes. See? It didn't give me the costume. It gave me a silver costume, but it didn't give me the costume that I need. I don't know what to do. I've had so many of these tiger pigs, it will not give me that last costume that I need. It's so annoying. Anyway, and then it gave me, I can get that free pig if I want to feed. So, yeah, I need that one, and it won't give me that one. It doesn't matter if it's gold, regular or silver. I just need that hat, that feather hat. Anyway, so there we go. See, number 4. I stopped giving them names and just started numbering them at a certain point. That's my 4th pig after I said I'm done feeding that pig. I've done 4 more pigs just because I'm a little crazy that way. So you can see, I'll click on that again. If this is the other one that I need, and he costs 40 keys, and there's no guarantee I'm going to get the costume that I want, so I'm like, never mind. And then there's also sheep, but I like the sheep even less than I like the pigs, so I don't really do them much. And when I click on this white house, there were different quests this was full of tasks that it wants you to do to earn money and whatnot, and it wants me to collect every costume for every show pig, and it's those 2 that I can't seem to collect, so I don't think I'm ever going to complete that task. Back to my cash register here. What else do we got? After workstations, we got decorations. Those are just, they don't really do anything except make your place look pretty. These are the prized animals. I've got all of my, prized animals here. And then these are the other, like this shows all of my animals. Now, most of these farm hands I won from races. They're called permanent farm hand races. And I've got all of these ones on because I really play way too much. And I'm really good at these races. And I'm lucky sometimes too. I don't win them all, but I win often. Other ones, I have different farm hands that I only have for like 4 days because I get her when I do the order board. I get Cowboy Vic for doing the treasure chest thing. This Mystic Meow is part of that $20 package that I buy every month. But the other ones are ones that are just permanent farm hands that I can use indefinitely. We have a really super great co-op. So anyway, lemon scented candle. Let me buy that. Let me buy somebody got the lobster. Darn it. Yeah. So what else is interesting? Oh, I gotta do this. There's my other grape that I wanted. That's cool. Let me do that. Now I'm gonna come back here. Now I can create 5 of these things. And and that's gonna take half an hour. And if you remember, come on. I need 19 of them, so those 5, I've still got a long way to go. You can see that I have 1,000 helping hands, yellow hands. Those, every time you click that, it will decrease the amount of time it takes by 10 minutes. So I could go 1, 2, 3, and it would automatically be done, but I don't really want to waste my resources that way. The ruby hands, it completes the whole, like one hand will finish the whole thing. So if I wanted to come over to my 4-hour thing here, I could hit a ruby hand and it would be immediately available to me. But I don't want that right now. This is the daily treasure chest, and if you do all of them in the month, then you win the Victor farmhand for the month, for the following month. Oh, and that gave me a nail, a padlock, and a shovel, which is nice. You don't always get that. Sometimes you get coins or something. What else? There's also a county fair. This goes from Tuesday to Tuesday. There's 3 days left in this one. And basically every time you craft a product and harvest it from your workstation, you get county fair points. And you can also boost yourself. So you can see he's got a boost, he's got a boost. These people are all boosting. They are not boosting. I do not currently have a boost, but I can buy a boost. So because, again, I've got 40 million and it maxes out at 40 million, I'm going to go ahead and boost 3 times. 1, 2, 3. If I wanted to boost again, it would take keys. I don't do that. Now, because I boosted, I get a card pack for every time I boosted. So there's 1 boost. There's the second boost. I get a 2-star pack. And then I get a 3-star pack for the third boost. And what these are, this is, again, a new feature. So I've got this card pack here. It's an adventure collection. And you can see I have 105 cards out of 120. I've been doing this for 25 days, and these last 15 are the hardest ones to get. Like, you can't really get them unless you're getting gold card packs, and those are rare to come across. So I probably won't ever get all of them. But what happens is, as long as you finish the pack, then there's a reward. So let me show you my mushroom pack. I only have 7 out of 8. I still need a hedgehog mushroom, apparently. And if I do that, then I get all of these wonderful rewards. It goes away very quickly. So it's really valuable, but what you do, you end up with a lot of duplicates. So I've got 13 of those and 5 of those, 9 of those. You end up getting a whole bunch. And so what they did was they give you this option to trade in your duplicate cards for chests. And I'm saving up to get the 5,000 chest. I don't know what's going to happen when I get the chest. I haven't done that yet. Maybe I'll make a video around that because maybe most people wouldn't have that experience. But I'm going to. I'm almost there. I'm about 500 stars away, and that I could definitely do that within 25 days. So it's just an extra little thing that they added on top of this whole thing to make sure that you're still participating. Otherwise, I would never do Nick. If I wasn't getting card packs, I don't do Nick anymore. I only do this if it's easy. But now that they're doing card packs, I'm like, well, I'll stretch myself a little bit. But again, every time you stretch, that's basically stress. All right, I'll do it to try to get a reward that's supposed to make the game easier and less stressful. But you're already stressed, and there's always going to be one more thing after it that's going to stress you out. So it's kind of, are you really winning here? But again, it's a super cute game, and they fill it with some really human things. So this was an early part of it, like when you were first starting with apples. Once you harvested enough apples, you would earn a star in this scrapbook, and that would give you 5% more coins when you sell them. This 2 stars would be 10% less time to harvest apples, and then if you got 3 stars, it was 15% chance of harvesting 1 extra apple anytime you did it. And so each one has this fun little pop-up book, and if you click the card, it tells you a fun little fact about the world. So New York and the apples and apple pies and whatnot. And you can go through to the next one. I don't know how many are. It's all the kind of main crops. So corn, you're going to go to Cairo, Egypt. Fun fact about that. Milk is going to bring us to France with your brie cheese. Wool is bringing us to Australia, which is fun. Teddy bears are giving the koala bears a run for their money. So it's a fun little, they didn't have to do this. The lemons tell you about London and tea and lemon scented candles and a fun little pop-up animation. Tomatoes bring us to Italy, which is fun. Potatoes bring us to Dublin, Ireland. One or two more here. Grapes bring us back to the US with San Francisco. And one more. Eggs, yes. Eggs bring us to Hong Kong, China with crab cakes, deviled eggs. So, but once you finish it, it's just kind of in the way, and now every time I go to pick one of these, sometimes I click that and it opens it up and it slows me down, and I wish I could get rid of it now, but it's cute. All right, so all of that to say, let me make sure that my camera is still recording before I do this part. Yes, we are an hour and 38 minutes in. All right, try to get in here again. All right, so now for the piece de resistance. Oh wait, I forgot to tell you about Eagle Eye Eddie. He comes every 4 hours or something, and he asks for things, and usually I skip him because he asks for stuff that I don't want to give him. But he gives you stamps, and now he gives you card packs and experience points if you complete the orders, and you use the stamps down here with treasure chests. So you can see I've over here on the left-hand side, I've got 311 bronze stamps and 60 bronze nets. I've got 227 silver stamps that I can use to buy silver nets, and I've got 242 gold stamps that I can use to buy gold nets. A gold net searches 5 seconds. A silver net searches for 1 hour, and a bronze net searches for 8 hours. So that's what the stamps are for, is you buy a net with it. That's all they're good for. So let me just show you a gold net. You can only have 3 going at a given time. I like to make little patterns. I don't know, it's just kind of the way my brain works. The checkerboard pattern is my favorite because it's fun enough without being overcomplicated, but I've tried a lot of different patterns over the year. Anyway, you open it. It gives you a bunch of stuff. You never know what you're gonna get. Gave me 4 trout, which is nice. It gave me an extra bronze net. I'm gonna go ahead and just plant, I'm gonna plant a silver net. That's gonna take an hour now, so you can see it's ready in an hour, or I can use 29 keys and open it now, but I don't want to. I'm not gonna open these right now because my barn is already full enough. And that just makes it even more full. So that's what Eagle Eye Eddie does. He gives us stamps. He also gives us stamps for the animal park, which I'll show you next. So I'm going to go ahead and use that because I have that. I'm going to complete that and that. It wants 1 more of these. I've got 8 hours to do it. So I'm going to go over to here, grab some corn, come over to my Cove kettle, and make 1 clam chowder in the next 3 minutes. It takes 1 clam, 5 corn, and some potatoes. And now I just wait, or I could use a hand if I wanted to. Let me go ahead. I'll use the yellow hand so that I can complete this. And now he gives me my rewards. I got a bronze stamp to add to my collection. And I got a card pack, which is nice. They're all duplicates. If it was new, it would have a little new flag on it, which is nice. And now he goes away for a few hours. All right. The other thing, it does this thing where you don't have to watch videos, but you can watch videos. Some of the videos are kind of fun. They're little games that you can try out, but I don't do it unless I have to. And usually I have to. The only reason I do it, there's this other thing called Marco's Mart, and it's going to reward you for watching ads at the projector. So this last few days I've watched 25 ads in order to get the points so that I could go shopping and buy some card packs, which did end up giving me some cards I didn't have because they're gold. Not all gold ones will give you new cards, but that's your best chance of getting a new card at this point. So again, that's just another little thing to keep you interested in moving along. All right, so finally, let me get a drink of water here. All right, finally. The animal park. This is the whole reason why I was making this video in the first place. Where to start? When I first started playing, there was no animal park. And so when I started playing last summer, like I said, I kind of tried to check it out and it didn't seem very fun. And so I avoided it for a little while, but eventually I started, all right, let me just give it a shot. And I'll show you. So when you open it up, you get this dashboard here, and this dashboard has deceptively lot of information here. It has information about, like, here's your weekly goal along the right-hand side. So I am a tier 3, which means I have to fill 24 orders in the week in order to get the prize for tier 3, which is 800 delivery points. A 2-tier would be a 400 delivery point, and 1 tier is 200 delivery points. So you deliver, you know, if 1 week you met your tier 1 goal, then the next week, like I think this is like you got to do, I don't know, like 8 orders. And then if you complete that, the next week you qualify for a tier 2, and that's like, I don't know, I forget, 16 orders or something. And then if you do that one, then the next week you qualify for tier 3, which is 24 orders. And if you do that, that's the best that you can do. There's no tier 4, obviously. And it gives you 800 points, which is the most important thing, but it also gives you a few other rewards too. The reason why you want those points is because you need animal park dollars in order to buy the animals. All right, so I'm going to go to this tab. So in your animal park, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different animal habitats that you have to unlock, fix up, and fill, each with 4 animals. And that takes a lot of resources and a lot of time. Like the last one I have to do right now, and this is why I have 39 animals. I only need 1 more animal to finish this task. And in order to get that 4th animal, which is a red panda, I need 11 animal park dollars, 10 of the blue tickets, which you get from Eagle Eye Eddie, and 17 blue ribbons that you get from the prized animals. Each animal park dollar takes 1,000 points to earn 1. And so if I come back over to my trailers, these represent trailers that you fill with items. And when you do that and you send it off, it comes back and you're going to get some number of points for the trailer itself, and you're going to get some number of points depending on how many farm hands you put in that trailer. So I always put 4. You can put up to 4. That's 10 points a piece, 40 points. So this trailer, when it comes back, is always worth 305 points for me right now. It wasn't always that way. If I click where it says trailer, I've upgraded it. I'm now at a level 15 trailer. Each time you upgrade, you have to choose, do I want an upgrade in points, a 15% boost, or do I want a shorter time? I made some mistakes along the way before I really understood my strategy here, and always go for the points. In order to upgrade it, you have to earn some rubber and some timber from Marie's order board. And the rubber, it gets harder and harder to accumulate that much rubber. So it's taken a long time and a lot of focus to get it to a level 15 trailer, where every time, now I only have to send it 3 or 4 times in order to get 1 animal park dollar. Did that make sense? I think it did. So you can see currently I'm at 850 out of 1,000 points, and I've got these points sitting here ready to be collected, but I haven't collected them yet. When I do that, this dollar is going to release, and I'm going to have my 11th dollar, and it's going to want to push me into the park to get the red panda, the last red panda. Unfortunately, or fortunately, I don't know which, it also happens to coincide with my 24th, with my goal for the week. And so you're going to see the dollar show up, and then it's immediately going to be replaced with another animation, I think, showing the goal being met. So that's annoying, but unfortunately that's what's going to happen here, I think, when I do this. Why do the animal park at all? Well, you get these rewards. These are pins. I didn't really tell you about the pins yet. Every time you do 3 animals, you win a pin. And so this pin is for a zoologist, Zoe number 1, and she gets more experience points from prized animals. You get a happy hoarder pin, which is expand your barn by 20 spaces. An expansion pin, you need expansion parks to unlock, to prepare the habitat for the animals. That's a whole thing in and of itself. It's so not fun, because the expansion parts hang out in your barn, taking up space until you can use them. And oh my God, that was not fun. Anyway, every 3 animals, you get a different pin or an upgraded pin to one of the pins that you have. And I really just wanted to get to number 30 if I could get to 30. I've given up so many times along the way, and then eventually I'm like, all right, let me try again. Anyway, and then I started thinking, I've only got 10 more animals to do. And when you're first doing your first animal, it only takes $1 to unlock the animal. So that's 1,000 points. Back then, my trailer was only pulling in like 100 points each time. So it still took 10 visits, 10 trips to get $1. Now it only takes like 3 or 4 trips to get $1, but I have to make more trips because it's taking $10, $11 per animal to unlock. So they just keep adjusting it so that it constantly remains a stressful pain in the ass. But I feel like once I get that 40th animal, now when I do the Ready Eddie, I don't think I'll be getting any more blue tickets. Like right now I have 88 blue tickets. I think he's going to stop giving me these, which would be good because I don't need them, and they take up a reward spot that could be a gold stamp for a treasure chest that I'd much rather have. So that's my hope, is once I finish this, I won't have any more blue tickets from Ready Eddie. That's the whole reason why I did another 10 animals. Anyway, you can also see along the way I had to collect different expansion parts. That's a whole story. I'm not going to bother getting into that now because I could make a separate video if somebody really wanted me to. There's a whole spreadsheet that I have from somebody else that spells out what you need for which expansion pack, so you aren't saving the things that you don't need. Anyway, so there's that. So that's the. Let me show you in the prize tent. It's kind of like a carnival tent. Kind of showed you that earlier. You have these pins down here that you've earned either from the Mariner or from the animal park. And so in order to activate the pin, it takes sand dollars. And some of them are good to have, some of them are kind of useless. Some of them might be useless for somebody, but they aren't for me. So an example of one that I love is the buttered up pin. When this is active, it makes it so that when I'm harvesting milk from my cows, I have a chance of receiving a stick of butter too. So I love that one. I love my spring sheep pin because instead of getting 3 wool when I pick my sheep, I get 6, so that's better. It takes less time to get a full cloud of wool, so to speak. So those are two of the ones that I love. And then you need seashells in order to activate them. You get the seashells from the mariner from completing a full stack of orders, right? You get a pile of sand dollars. It's random how many you get. Sometimes you get 7, 8, 9, 10. Sometimes you get 11. It doesn't really seem to be dependent on whether this was hard or easy. It's just a random number. Now, I have collected 1,400 sand dollars because I just save my stuff and suffer through it instead of spending my resources like a sane person. But I was also curious to see if it would max out at 1,000, but it didn't. It kept going, and then I just kept going. Anyway, so that's what you need the pins for. Let me show you what my pins are active right now. So you can see I have the Holy Cow pin, but it's not active because I hate the Holy Cow pin. It gives you a chance of getting 1 extra cow food every time you make cow food. But in my inventory process, having 1 extra cow food is a pain in the ass that I don't appreciate. This gives you sugar sometimes when you're harvesting corn. These ones I won from the county fair. This is making my pier faster, my mill faster. Skip that one. This is my pond faster, my spring sheep. So a couple of these pins, because I'm part of the Crown Society, I get pins each day. That's a whole separate thing that doesn't really matter unless you're really going to spend a lot of money on this game, like I did. Master Zoe, I rent her when I have an event going that I'm participating in because she gives me an extra helping hand and she's better at finding rare event items. So then what you see here is I've got a couple of pins here, and I'm going to call this some people might call it a game glitch. I consider it like an Easter egg. I earned these pins by completing pieces of the animal park, and it gives me these pins. And you'll see, like, this pin says I only have this active for 1 day, 17 hours, and 3 minutes left. Originally it was like 3 days. And when this pin goes to 0, because I rented it with my sand dollars, it's gone. It just disappears completely. But because I won these from the animal park, for some reason, they hang around with it saying 0 seconds left. And it will hang out in that state for some time until finally it gets cleared off the books. But if you activate it while it still says 0 seconds left, it reactivates it for some amount of time, like another day, or I don't know how long, at least another day. I check these every day, and I just keep reactivating them whenever I see that they're unchecked. And so I've had this buttered up pin for probably 2 months now because of this little Easter egg, right? And so I'll show you. Let me see if it will work. So I've got my cows. Yep, got a piece of butter, a stick of butter from him. No butter. Oh, and a stick of butter from him. So I got 2 sticks of butter there because I have that buttered up pin. And the sticks of butter, let's see how much longer, 16 seconds left on this smoothie. Like I said, in order to make 10 sticks of butter, it takes 30 milk. And so each stick of butter is 3 cow milk. So in order to make 10, I need 30. And you need so much butter for this game. It is insane. Like, you need butter for the scones, you need chive butter for the salmon, you need butter for the loaded baked potatoes, you need butter for the pan-seared trout. You need so much butter. I mean, it's insane. Anyway, so that's why I love the pins, and that's one of the little Easter eggs that probably a lot of people don't know about, so you're getting that pro tip here. If you see it says 0 seconds left and it's unchecked, check it, and you'll continue to have access to it. The other Easter egg that I discovered while playing this, so when you first, see, how do I want to say this? When you have your trailer, I can't really show you that part of it because I'm past that part of it now and I'm about to finish it. But it gives you a trailer and it just gives you little items to have to fill, very much like an order board. And you fill the orders and then you say send. And so then you have to put, like I said, 1, 2, 3, or 4 people, farmhands, into the truck. And then it goes away for 4 hours or 3.5 hours in this case. And so most people lose access to those 4 farmhands for 4 hours in between. What I do is after I click send, the trailer drives away. I just restart the game. I go like this. I close it, and then I open it again. It restarts the game, and my 4 guys are standing right there. It doesn't have to be like immediately after. It could be any time after, in between the time while the delivery is gone. Just restart, and your guys will be back in here. And now you can use them still to do some other workstation or some other prized animal. So it's it's like getting an extra 4 farmhands just by restarting really quickly. So that is another pro tip there for you. I wish I could show you better, but you're just gonna have to trust me. Try it for yourself. Anyway, anything else before I do this? I harvested that 7 out of 21. Yep. And let me pull that, the Irish stew. So I've only got 1 more Irish stew to make. Can I make that 1 more? Yep. I got 2 cilantro, 3 butter, 1 steamed vegetable. So I'm going to go ahead and make that. It's going to be 5 minutes. I'm just going to go ahead and use my helping hand so I can finish it quickly. And now that's got a little check mark. So the last task I have to do for phase 4 in order to earn these rewards is to make 21 minus 7 grape smoothies. Yes, I used to be a corporate accountant and I cannot do that math in my head. Don't judge. So, and right now I don't have any grapes. Now I could probably get some, but we've already done that, so I don't want to bore you with that again. All right, well, I think we're about done with the overall. There's other little things, like you can spin this once a day and get some little item. Usually it's really not very worthwhile, but sometimes you get something good. And this one is another little game that you get by, it shows you what the options are, and then it's going to mix them all up, or maybe not. And you get to get a couple of items here. So we'll see what happens. Oh, I got a card pack. That's what I want more than anything. And you can do it twice. If I do it any more than twice, then it's going to cost me keys, and I don't want to do that. I don't spend my keys unless I want to spend my keys. So there's a few more points. All right, so I think that's it. I guess the last thing I wanted to mention, when I was first doing this animal park thing, I would always kind of center this bulletin board kind of in the middle, just naturally. I'd just like, okay, time for animal park. I'd put it there, and I would click the bulletin board, and watch what happens when I do that. See where my finger is? It's basically over this rent button. And if I had 8 rubber stocked up, which I don't because I've gotten rid of it all because I don't need any more rubber. I would accidentally sometimes click rent, and I would now have a second trailer that for one day, and it would cost me rubber and timber, which was not my choice. It was just an accident because it was just right there where my finger was, and I'd accidentally click it a second time. So what I learned to do so that I wouldn't do that in the future was either put it over here so I can click it. You see how my hand's not over that anymore? Or better yet, I just got used to, in the lower right-hand corner here, the little animal park icon, and just click that instead. Oh, I didn't show you the actual animal park. Duh. All right, let's do that first. So you click to go into the animal park. I don't really go in here very often, but this is what it looks like. You've got all your little animal park habitats. And it starts over here with the swan habitat, which is cute. And when you click on it, it gives you an extra little animation. Here's the zebras. When I click on it, all of a sudden he's going to stand up, and he sits down, and different little fun things happen. Oh, see, he went to play in the water. The deer, he's going to chase his little butterflies in a minute. Eat the grass. Come on, buddy. Don't make a liar out of me. There he goes. So, just fun little animations. But once you've seen them, you've kind of seen them. They don't really do a whole lot, the alpacas. The eagles will fly around here. Little guys come out of their nests. It's cute. Who else? Oh, the tigers. The tigers are cute. I don't know what they do, if anything. Stretch. There he goes. Now he's playing. And then you got the hippos. I had a boss, the CFO of the company that I reported to, and he loves hippos. Like, he sponsors a hippo at the zoo in, I think it's Syracuse, and so he gets extra benefits from that relationship with the hippos, and he gets to go in and feed them or wash them or do different things. So he loves hippos. Hi, Jerry, if you're watching. So they're cute. The panda bears and the chimpanzees and the red pandas. So you can see this is the last one that I have to do. Originally they're all empty and they all need to be fixed with expansion parts, and it's this whole thing. But eventually, you add one animal at a time, and so you can see I've got 3 paw prints. I have one more paw print, and then I'm going to earn some keys. And this is my last guy, and you can see I have 10 out of 11 stamps. I've got all the blue stamps I need and all the blue ribbons I need. So they each take different types of quantities of things. They might take yellow ribbons or red ribbons or blue ribbons. And they don't all, like I said, they don't all take $10 or $11. It kind of grows. They start with $1, then it becomes $2, then $3 and $4, and it just sort of grows from there. And I guess the last thing, let's see, now I can go home. The last thing to say on that point is, let me do this, is on this info tab, if you click on the animal, it gives you some really fun little facts about the animals. And this is another one of those kind of human moments that I found in this game that I really appreciated. They didn't have to do this, Swans form strong pair bonds and usually mate for life, which can be for 20 to 30 years. You know, zebras are as unique as a fingerprint, and scientists use zebra barcode readers. Eagles were an endangered species, but after elaborate conservation efforts, they're bouncing back now. Tiger's roar can be heard from miles away. So that's just, I just love that. You know, they didn't have to do that. Little fun facts. I don't get the fun fact about them until after I finish this. So yeah, it's just those little moments that make this game extra special. And also on here, you can see there, anywhere you see a little green question mark, it will tell you all the rules. You know, do this to do that to do that. If you see the little arrow, there's more rules. This one happens to have a lot of rules to tell you how to do it all. There's a lot to this game and to this little feature of this game that isn't even about this thing. It wasn't even part of the original game. So it's quite intricate, and it has had me quite engaged over the last 9 months. Anyway, so let's go ahead and pull in our last trailer here. Are you ready? One more time. I'm going to check and make sure it's still recording. Ooh, 2 hours and 10 minutes, sorry, but this was fun. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the transcript from this and I'm going to put it into a custom GPT, and I'm going to put that custom GPT in the description of the video. So you can just click on the custom GPT and then just go ask questions like, you know, they said something about the animal park, that there were some Easter eggs. What was that about? So that you don't have to go watch the whole video. You can just ask it and it will tell you. So I'm gonna try to do that for you guys. It may not happen right away, but keep checking back. Anyway, here we go. So I'm gonna click collect, and I get my dollar. And now I have to tap to collect it. Normally I would tap to collect it and then it would just give me a new trailer. But because this is a dollar that finishes the habitat, it's gonna want to push me in there, but it's also the 24, it's my weekly goal, so it's gonna do another animation too. So let's just see. Tap to collect. See, it kind of flashed there. I got my weekly goal reward, tap to open. I got my 800 points, which I don't need anymore, but that would have been like 2.5 trips, so I appreciated those points. Got 3 new helping hands. I got 20 minerals for that mineral patch, and I got an animal pin, so that lucky animal pin is going to be active for 3 days, and now instead of getting a chance of 1 ribbon when I do my animals, I'll be able to get chance of 2 ribbons when I do those animals. I didn't quite say that right, but it doesn't matter. All right, so now, oh, okay, well, here's what the order board looks like. Wait, what happened? Oh, it pushed me off into, but I have my $11. Okay, it's just apparently because I haven't actually finished the animal yet. It's saying, hey, you want to do another one? I'm like, no. See, it wants the cookies because it knows I don't have any. I have 1 cookie. Yeah, it just does that. All right, anyway, I don't have to do that. I can click out of there. I'm going to go to my animal park, and now you see I have this little animal paw print. I click on it, and now because I've got my $11, I can drag him into there, and watch, this is another cute little piece. It's going to give me some information about where the animal came from. There he goes. Our baby red panda has a new sister. The family looks so happy together. And I got 60 keys, yeah. I use keys for the leaderboard events to give me boosts so that I can get permanent farm hands. And then we can watch the little animation for as long as we like to. Or we can then click out of it. It gives me my extra paw print. Anything else? Is that it? Wow. I really thought it was going to do something like, yay, you've completed all 40 animals. Good job. You know, something. Nothing. Wow. That's the thing that I noticed that. Like when you reach some of these milestones, it really doesn't do all that much. They didn't put a lot of effort into the end of it. Anyway, so let's see what this looks like. All right, it gives me this activating my pin. This is fun. These are like templated things. I don't know what it means. Button. I just click a button. I don't know. It's really weird. Anyway, now what happens? New animals and habitats coming soon. It says that forever. They're not. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't even know if I can complete anymore. Maybe I can. But anyway, I'm done. Animals rescued, 40. And if I come over to here, got my little green check mark now. Oh, let's see what the fact is. Red pandas are one of the few animals on the planet that can climb straight down a tree head first. Cool. All right. Well, there we go. That is something most people will probably never have the masochistic tendencies to actually complete. So that's what it looks like. And we are done with the animal park. Isn't that exciting? So I think I'm going to wrap that up here then, guys. And thanks for watching. I hope this was interesting to you. If you are curious about anything I shared, or if you saw something that you weren't sure what it was, or if you have questions, clearly I've been playing this a while and I know a few things. Maybe I will share more videos as I kind of open up different events, and because I've got different strategies for the different events, and some events, like I said, I just don't do because they're not worth the hassle. So anyway, thanks. I appreciate you, and I will see you next time.